Hey,
Good evening.
good evening. How you
Hello,
doing?
hello, everybody, to this Friday night edition of the God Squad pod. We had to pivot a little bit yesterday. Thunder bumpers came through, knocked my power out, and then Dr. Dan McClellan, who was going to be on the show, his internet went out in Colorado. I think that's where he was at. Anyway, spiritual warfare, am I right?
That's what they like to call that. A little spiritual
Yeah.
warfare, a little, a little
If
battle.
I if I was in the Sean Foyt camp, I'd be making TikTok videos about how spiritual warfare was keeping me from doing my divine duty. But never fear, Dan's going to be on July 10th, and tonight we're going to do our regular scheduled show, typical show kind of thing, uh, and keep it tight. We're going to keep it tight to an hour because it's Friday night, y'all. People got things to
I just got paid. Not really, but
do. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? Well, what is happening, December Rose, in the news that you
what
want to talk
isn't
about?
happening in the news is probably the thing. But it was breaking news that, Columbia grad Mahmoud Khalil was released from immigration jail today. That
Yes.
happened. So that's good news, right?
Yeah, we got to take the good news where we can get it, and that is good news. And I'm very grateful that he's out and he's back with his family, and hopefully he's going to stay safe and they're not going to be able to touch him because he didn't do anything wrong. You can't claim that somebody's anti-Semitic when you're pardoning people that are wearing shirts with horrifically anti-Semitic things on them, like Lord Commander Marmalade did when he pardoned the dude with the shirt. I'm not even going to say what was on the shirt because it's so vile and disgusting. Uh, but there are pictures of it all over the internet, and that dude got pardoned. So no,
Right. So
and
so you can't be that concerned about you know, anti Jewish or uh, anti Semitic rhetoric or any. I mean, and that guy wasn't the only one
no,
with
no, there was a
you
bunch
know,
of them. All that dispensationalist and dominionist theology is anti-Semitic. They all think that the Jews got to die or convert or whatever so Jesus could come back, and that is just some straight up nonsense that they made up. I don't know how or where or why, but they made that shit up. But did you see Ted Cruz talking to Tucker Carlson?
that. And you know what? We are truly in the twilight zone.
I mean,
Anytime I am anywhere close to being in any kind of alignment or agreement with Tucker Carlson, I had to pinch myself and just make sure: Am I still here? Am I okay? Am I all right? Cause yeah, I was like, yeah, your boy roasted. Oh, good old Ted, good old Raphael was having a situation on that show with Tucker Carlson, and I am not anywhere near a Tucker Carlson fan by any stretch of the
right.
imagination. But I am a fan of how he handled good old Ted. He
I mean,
wasn't
Ted
ready. Ted wasn't ready.
Ted Cruz is apparently at least has some level of intelligence because he did go to Harvard. Uh, he is, he's a vile. He chooses to be vile and reprehensible pretty much every damn day of his life. But he was quoting Genesis chapter 12. And he said, I learned this in Sunday school that
Mm.
those who bless Israel will be blessed. And I want to be on the blessed side. My dude, Genesis 12 ain't got shit to do with the modern day nation state that was created in 1948. It ain't got shit to do with that. And I'm sorry, but if you're a practicing Christian and you think genocide is something to be blessed just because of the name on the tin, then you're doing it wrong. And as I've said it before, genocide is wrong. I don't give a fuck who's doing it.
It doesn't matter who's doing it. And speaking of that war, apparently Donald Trump has got crossways with the Proud Boys. Go figure. Everybody is a tool for Donald Trump to use. He don't give a damn about y'all. He don't give a damn about the Proud Boys, the Palestinians, the Cubans for Trump, Hispanics for Trump, blacks for Trump, the women for Trump. He don't care about y'all. Everybody, it's all the same. It's just votes and money. Anyway,
yeah, I don't care about you. I just need your vote. He literally said those words on the campaign trail. I do not care about you. I just need your vote.
I don't know why they don't understand the words that be coming out this man's mouth. They hear what they want to hear because he done told y'all. But anyway, the Proud Boys have posted something. I'm gonna read it verbatim what they said. If the United States gets directly involved in the Israel-Iran conflict, the voters that voted for Trump because there was a hope that Trump was America first can no longer support Trump. The Proud Boys account posted to Telegram on Wednesday. America first does not mean war for Israel. Donald Trump focused on the health of our nation, period. We are crumbling. We are crippled with debt with no plan for a solution. Be the president you ran as. Sincerely, with love, the Proud Boys. That last part was what I know.
Goodness.
So that's the Proud Boys telling Donald Trump, basically back off of this Iran Israel war, which he is literally putting himself in the middle of for reasons that nobody can figure out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just putting himself smack dab in the middle of it.
Well, there's dispensationalists and dominionists right in the middle of his cabinet. So some of the dispensationalists are probably thinking, we got to have the Armageddon happen so Jesus will come back. Again, folks, that is not in the book any damn where.
Nowhere.
It is not. It's not in the book. There is no reason to be cheering on Israel and trying to pray for war and blowing Iran off the fucking, off the map. None of that is going to make Jesus come again. None of that is in the Bible. That is some wackadoodle, fever dream nonsense from dispensationalists. It ain't in the book. But I'm surprised they didn't say, we stormed the Capitol for you, man. Why aren't you doing America first? We stormed the Capitol for you. Because there was a lot of Proud Boy types at the Capitol that he, again, Mr. Law and Order President, has pardoned and let free violent domestic terrorists. Meanwhile, Mahmoud Khalil spent months in jail for using words to accurately describe what is happening in Gaza and the West Bank.
Yeah, and my thing is, I actually feel like this is a distraction that Israel is doing because they have definitely upped their attack on Gaza and the number of Palestinians they have been literally murdering since they bombed Iran. Have you seen the numbers in the news? 150 something year every day.
Every time you turn around, it's something. And then the Israeli government had the temerity to say Iran hit a hospital with a missile. That's a war crime.
Yeah.
How many hospitals in Gaza did Israel's government, the IDF, level when they told people? And how many places did they say you need to go here? And then as soon as people got there, they dropped bombs on them.
No,
you don't get to say you don't get to cry war crimes, Israel. Right. I'm sorry.
You don't get to do it. This week, I believe that Israel bombed a settlement shelter or a relocation shelter, whatever they're calling it, in Gaza. Where they actually tell people to go.
Yeah.
Where they send people and say, be here for now. Israel is dictating where they should be going to be safe. They can't leave the country. They're just running them out in the country like mice. And then they run them all into a corner and then bomb the corner. That's what I feel like they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Go here, it'll be more convenient for us to kill you.
Yeah,
that's what it sure does seem like.
That's what it seems like to me. If they ain't doing that, then hey, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like I'm right because it sure looks like that to me. If you tell a whole bunch of people you must leave this place in the West and go down here to this place in the South, and then 2 weeks later or so after that, that specific place is bombed, and then the word is Hamas had infiltrated that place or they had tunnels under that place. But when did you find that out? Before or after you told them people to go down there?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Right. So you didn't know that before you sent everybody over there?
Right.
Because you could have bombed that place before you sent the people over there. Or not at all, since you sent the people over there. So I just feel like it's all bullshit. And we have a president, unfortunately, that's with the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? He's like, whatever you got to do. What's something he said before? He said, they just got to clear it out. He said something to that nature a while back. Do you remember that? There's like, what does that mean? We clear it out.
Sounds an awful lot like ethnic cleansing to me.
It sounds a whole lot like genocide to me.
Yeah.
Clear it out, clean it out. You know?
Oh, and then that's probably about the time he made that really disgusting video of him and Netanyahu drinking on the beach and Trump Gaza Strip and all that shit.
I think he made that video, but he did share it, which is, that's another thing. I promise you, we're in a different. If you look to Fox News or any of these major conservative networks, these people live in a different world, a different planet, an entirely different reality. Because can you even imagine if Joe Biden would have shared some of the memes, videos, and things that were created against Trump, or even in his even in Biden's favor during his presidency? Right. And you got this clown that shares that type of video with him sent as a gold statue. Can you imagine if Biden had done something like that? Shared a video of him as a golden statue doing anything, especially these really religious types. Can you even just think about that? And then these can you imagine if Biden shared any of the memes where they have him like Trump did with him as a superhero, as a pope? There's so many things. And they don't question it.
No,
it's like everything goes, everything's okay. This man can say whatever crazy thing comes across his mind, comes out his mouth, and it's just all right.
Today he shared a meme today I saw on Midas Touch Network where he posted on his stupid Truth Social thing 45, 47, 48, as if he's going to keep being president after this disastrous term.
That part. Can you imagine if Biden did that?
Right. And then he showed another one.
President Obama. Can you imagine if President Obama was posting that he was going to run again, or even hinted at still being the president for 2024? Or, 2020? Can you imagine that? What they would be saying? Can you imagine what Fox News would be saying if he even hinted that he wasn't planning to exit the White House in 2020?
Oh, no. Nuclear meltdown. And he showed an AI-generated picture of Obama surrounded by stacks of money, and it said, now we know, something to the effect of, now we know why Iran's got nukes. Now,
what would Obama have to do with that?
Nothing.
Weren't we on our way to a deal for them to disarm Iran, and then he back out of it? Ain't that what happened?
Yeah, Trump's the one that backed out of it. So this clown is exacerbating problems in the Middle East. He might have a Russian spy working in his cabinet, vetting federal employees. That's news that dropped this week. Sergei Gore, but also known as like Sergeyevich Gorovich or something like that.
And didn't Musk say something about he's a snake?
Who?
Musk. Elon Musk.
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't heard about that.
A little back and forth.
But then, so they might have a Russian spy. We know that Tulsi Gabbard's a Russian asset. We know that Tucker Carlson's a Russian asset. We know that Trump is pretty much a Russian asset. And now he's got all this stuff going on in his addled brain, his narcissistic, he's getting pulled in 27 different directions. And also, oh, by the way, narcissistic injury was off the charts after his stupid toy soldier parade. And
can we talk about the parade? Can we talk about the parade a little bit? Because that was
all of the counter protests that dwarfed that. They're saying 12.5 million people protested, and that took place across 50 states.
That's awesome.
Yeah. On his birthday. And guess what? I did not get paid for showing up. I did that shit for free. In the rain. Did it for free. Standing there with my back hurting. In the rain. Saying no kings, no fascism, etc. Nobody was paid for that shit.
No, nobody was paid. Nobody's paid. And I want to show real quick, and as part of what TF is in news, I want to show a comparison somebody did of the parade versus the No Kings stuff that happened. Check this out real quick. I just want y'all to take a look at the difference
on renaming
between the parade.
You said just now to Senator King.
Let's see. Hopefully it will do right.
You're focusing on
not that. Here we go. For some reason. But check this out. You said 14 million?
12, the last numbers I saw was 12.5 million. Yeah.
All over the United States. And I think also in other countries too.
We had 4,000 people in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, a city of only 58,000. The county's got a bigger population, but most of the people were from Lancaster City itself. So that's more than the 3.5% threshold that they say is needed for change in a country. I don't
falling asleep at his own parade.
Yeah. He started nodding off. Rubio and Hegseth looked bored out of their mind. Trump doesn't know how to do a salute. He was practically covering up his whole eye. I mean, the man is a clown. He's an absolute incompetent clown. And now he's going back to the 2020 election was a landslide in his favor. Posting that stuff today in 2025 after 61 cases were thrown out showing that there was absolutely no fraud in the 2020 election. Now, he might be doing that because there are people who are starting to whisper about fraud in the 2024 election. I need to see a lot more evidence before I'm going to get on board with that. But it would not surprise me at all if people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, who have lots of IT tech, experience, went through some shenanigans and some chicanery on the voting system. I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm saying it wouldn't fucking surprise me because that's what those kind of people do.
Because he won here's the thing. He won every swing state. Really? You really?
That don't make no sense to me.
That makes no sense. Even if it wasn't Donald Trump, it wouldn't make sense. Every single swing state swung for this motherfucker? I don't think so. Would it have been enough to change the outcome of the election? Probably not. I'm not sure. But one thing we do know is you don't see any Democrats trying to overthrow the government.
Right.
We not storming the Capitol. We not threatening to hang the vice president.
Yeah.
Because we're in our right damn minds.
Yeah.
Also, another thing. Happy Juneteenth to everybody celebrating freedom, or being informed that we are free on yesterday and all throughout the weekend. Your boy, your Tito Jesus up there in the White House, he had this lovely post for Juneteenth. Too many non-working holidays in America. It is costing our country billions of dollars to keep all these businesses closed. The workers don't want it either. Soon we'll end up having a holiday for every once working day of the year. It must change if we're going to, in all caps, make America great again. That's your friendly Juneteenth message from the Donald fuck you Trump for Juneteenth. So there's that.
Yeah, the racist in chief is going to be the racist in chief. You notice that he didn't say that on like Veterans Day or President's Day or Columbus Day. He waited until Juneteenth. And I saw somewhere that somebody said somebody must have told him what it meant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then as soon as he found out what it meant, that he posted that nonsense. So which days do you want to get rid of, Donnie boy? Let me guess. MLK Jr. Day and Juneteenth? Is that the two that you want to get rid of?
I'm sure he thinks we could do without those two, at least.
Oh, yeah. 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 And the idea that working people hate paid days off is ludicrous. And remind me again, how much money has the U.S. taxpayer paid for that fascist fuckwit to play golf?
Yeah.
And to have Secret Service at his hotels?
Play golf.
Yeah. It's millions and millions of dollars at this point.
Lev Parnas, you remember Lev Parnas? He posted, first it was our kids had too many toys. Now we have too many holidays.
Yeah. Too many toys for the children and too many holidays for the working stiffs. Yes, Matt, I am a Phillies fan. And yes, I do give props to the Dodgers for turning ice away at Chavez Ravine at Dodger Stadium the other day. And you know what? If people are going to show up and they don't have identification and they got masks on and shit, why wouldn't you just say no? Vigilantes can't come in here.
I don't know why that's legal too.
Yeah.
Like, how do I know you not who? How do I know who you are? Why should I obey you? You don't have a badge. You don't have a uniform. Your face is covered. Your car is unmarked. I was just like, oh, I should assume that you're the good guy and go with you and obey you. I'm gonna run the hell the other way.
I hope people start carrying.
Any of this is for my good. You should not be able to arrest people in that manner, snatching folks off the street with your face covered with unmarked and plain clothes.
No.
For the first thing, that's reckless on the government's part to be doing things that way, because people can impersonate you, snatch folks off the street, put them in the sex trafficking or anything else. Who's gonna know? Who's gonna fucking know?
Right.
Who would know?
And what's going to happen when somebody goes, hey, no, fuck this, and commits an act of self-defense, violent self-defense on one of these clowns?
Then they're going to kill you and say you were resisting an officer. I was resisting
how did they know? Somebody called it Schrodinger's ICE agent. Like, is it an ICE agent, or is it some vigilante fuckwit who's radicalized by Trump, who's standing back and standing by? And if it's not a government agent and you don't know that, you have every right to defend yourself.
But of course they're going to say something about you're resisting arrest or you assaulted an officer. Oh, and they love saying that lately. They love hemming folks up, talking about obstructing justice, and they keep getting dismissed because the videos say something different. Right. Who is a congressman or state rep or somebody that was arrested the other day, and they just took him somewhere in a room and sat him there for 3 hours and then let him go. Talk about he was obstructing justice or something. Did you see that?
Oh, the one in New York? Was that the one in
he was accompanying somebody from court.
Right. And, yeah, he was a government official from New York State, I believe. And that's the one where the governor said this is bullshit. Like in a press conference. This is bullshit. But the cruelty is the point with these fascist clowns. And one of the things that where you know that the cruelty is the point is that they're cutting funding for the 988 suicide hotline. And
for the LGBTQ folks.
Right. There was a press 3 option that allowed LGBTQ plus youth to get somebody who understands what they're going through to talk to, and they're taking that out. Now, they try to claim that they're just going to try to get everybody the help that they need, but this is targeted. This
Yeah,
is
why take that one option out? How much money is that really saving?
1.3 million LGBTQ plus youth have used that option since 2022. But when you've got people dehumanizing and using all the fascist style dehumanization rhetoric towards that community, towards those children of God, this is the kind of legislation that you get. This is all in Project 2025. We are going to erase all LGBTQ plus stuff from the government, all gender ideology, all DEI, anything that has anything to do with sexuality and gender. We're going to nip it in the bud for heteronormativity. And guess what? We fucking tried to warn you. And you know what? People like Russell Vogt, they got an address. You know? They got addresses. Stephen Miller has an address. And I don't know how long it's going to be before somebody gets pushed too far for these people, from these people. But I would love to see hundreds and hundreds of people just surround their house and sit the fuck down, arms locked, and say, no, you don't get to go to work today. You don't get to go be a fascist today.
Not today. I
think it was Utah Phillips that said that first. Like, there are people destroying the world, and they all have an address.
They do. I'm not sure if one that said that. I love that though. But yeah, they all have an address. I'm not making no threats against anybody. God knows where they are.
No, let me just be clear. I am not advocating for violence. I'm saying that these people are just normal fucking people. The banality of evil, but non-violently protest the shit out of them. Just like we did.
What we can't afford to do is be quiet.
Right. Absolutely not. We cannot afford to be quiet, because being quiet is acquiescence. And if we acquiesce to this shit, we're not going to dig ourselves out of this hole for a long time. For a long time.
Yeah.
But that's all hugely problematic. And we're going to shift gears now, and we're going to get to the fundamentalist fuckwittery of the week.
What you got for us?
And the fundamentalist fuckwittery for this week is brought to you by the New Apostolic Reformation. Now, we have talked about this a lot on this show, about individual people and sometimes the NAR itself. But the reason why that the NAR is this week's representative of fundamentalist fuckwittery is because it strongly appears that Vance Bolter has ties to the New Apostolic Reformation, to the Latter-day Reign movement, and all of that. Now, for new listeners, the NAR, they fly this Appeal to Heaven flag. They've co-opted it from the Revolutionary era. And just this week, in a very blatant dog whistle to the Christian Dominionist, they flew this flag at a government office, at the Small Business Administration, right below the American flag. There is some plausible deniability there, because it does have historic significance to New England in particular during the colonial and revolutionary era. But this flag has been co-opted by the New Apostolic Reformation by people like Dutch Sheets. Dutch Sheets is a self-appointed apostle. He was educated at the Christ for America Institute, or whatever. Yeah, Christ for the Nations Institute. That's where Dutch Sheets got radicalized. Guess where Vance Bolter went to school? The Christ for the Nations Institute. This is an unaccredited Christian school that teaches dominionist theology. They have a sign in the building that says something to the effect of pray one violent prayer every day. And they try to do this thing where and there's a scholar named Matthew Taylor that talks about this. He wrote a book about the NAR specifically, The Violent Take It by Force. And he said they try to do this bait and switch where they say, oh, it's spiritual warfare. It's spiritual warfare. It doesn't mean actual violence. But you can't just keep saying that kind of thing over and over and over again, and then using imprecatory prayers like certain Psalms of David, which is what we're going to see here in just a second from Dutch Sheets. Now, I want to be very clear that what I'm not saying, I am not saying that Vance Bolter watched this blog episode on Dutch Sheets' YouTube channel and then went and shot people. I am not saying that at all. I am saying that the NAR and the Institute for Christ, the Christ Institute for the Nations, and all of that uses incendiary, violent rhetoric that dehumanizes people. We've talked about Lance Wall. Lance Wallnau on this show said, let's see, the left is full of demons. I don't even think they're people anymore. So they use that kind of language for the LGBTQ plus community, for Democrats, for progressives, for anybody that actually follows the teachings of Jesus. They call them demonic. And the NAR, so there are people like Fred Clarkson, who writes about this, Andre Gagne, a professor up in Canada, who write about the NAR, and they've said the relationship between spiritual warfare and physical, there is a relationship. They increasingly refer to Democrats, liberals, feminists, LGBTQ plus people, anyone with different political and religious or gender identity as demonic and blame them for all of society's problems. So that's what we're dealing with. And the thing is, since C. Peter Wagner started this movement, and people like Dutch Sheets and his brother and Lance Wallnau have taken up the mantle, and Abby Abildness here in Pennsylvania, who gives tours at the Harrisburg Capitol building and tries to build this movement. They believe that the dominionist theology says that they're going to be in charge of government and the military. They're going to be in charge of religion. They are radically anti-democratic. They're going to be in charge of arts and entertainment and media, the Seven Mountains Mandate. I always forget what they are. I have to read them all. Family, education, media, business, arts and entertainment, government, and religion. So if you've got a group of people who says that we are supposed to be in charge, I watched Dutch Sheets today say, the Holy Spirit told me that God's going to give me this nation. Dude, what?
Did the Holy Spirit tell the nation?
Yeah. This clown thinks that he's going to be, hold your taters, Dutch, that he's going to be given the United States of America. Now, in this prayer, he quoted Psalm 68, and I just had it. Now I lost it. Where David is saying to God, scatter my enemies. Now, to contextualize that, let God rise up, let his enemies be scattered. Let those who hate him flee before him. As smoke is driven away, so drive them away. As wax melts before the fire, let the wicked perish before God. Now, of course, David was a warrior king in a world where the gods were local. The God of the Israelites was a local deity to their geographic sphere, their location. And they all of those peoples around that time had a warrior god of some kind. And so this clown is quoting that prayer. And then he started to talk about the judiciary. And I want you to pay attention to what he says about the Supreme Court and the federal and the judges. And he's saying this because Trump keeps losing his ass in court because he keeps doing a bunch of unconstitutional stuff. But here's Dutch Sheets, again, trained at the Christ for the Nations Institute, the same place that Vance Bolter went to. And Vance Bolter, in his sermons that they keep showing from the Democratic Republic of Congo, uses the precise language of the Latter Rain movement, which then evolved into the New Apostolic Reformation. So here's Dutch Sheets.
This branch of our government is out of order, out of control. Many of those in it release injustice, not justice. Many judges, including Supreme Court justices, oppose you, disrespect your word and ways, violate our Constitution, and reject common sense. We ask you to stop this somehow. Bring your redemption into rebellious elements of this branch of our government. Remove those who oppose you. Give us righteous and wise judges who honor you. Continue to give righteous leaders in the executive and legislative branches of our government wisdom and understanding as they seek to transform America back to health.
All right, I don't know how to get that off the screen. Anyway, so he starts off his prayer talking. What the? Oh, my computer's froze up. Can you hear me, Dee?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Well, my screen's frozen up. So he starts the prayer asking God to scatter his enemies, and then he names federal judges as his enemies. He's using an imprecatory prayer, which is inherently violent, and then he names the judiciary. This is why the book, The Violent Take It by Force, was written, because of this kind of rhetoric. And apparently Vance Bolter was radicalized around abortion issues. And we've said it a million times on this show, the Bible in no way, not even a time, condemns abortion. Not one time. Yeah. The ancient Israelites believed that life began at the first breath. That idea, and that the life of the mother was more important, that the fetus was the father's property. That's why the death of a fetus through miscarriage and through a violent act that leads to miscarriage is a fine. But if the mother dies, then it is life for life, Talonic justice. But these people have warped themselves so much that they consider it their duty. Some of them think that there's some kind of pagan ritual going on with abortion and abortion clinics. So if you've got that kind of frame of reference, there's that led.
Well, it is freezing up now. I'm not sure if our audience can see or hear that. Y'all put it in the chat and let me know if Dillon, if you can hear Dillon, or if his video is glitching. I don't know if that's just me or if that's if that's happening if everyone can see or hear that. Let me know if you can hear us. You still there, Dillon? Or am I still here? Can't hear him? Okay, Judy. Thank you. I was like, I don't know. Are we even still live? What's really going on? Okay, let me let Dillon know that we cannot hear him. Something weird has happened. You can hear me. Okay, he's frozen. Okay, I didn't know what. I was like, what happened? Yeah, okay. I told him to go out and come back in, and we'll see if that works. I'm sorry, y'all. For some reason, we have been plagued with technical difficulties over the last couple of days. Actually, that was one of the reasons why our show was rescheduled from yesterday, is because the power went out where Dillon is, and then the internet went out where Dan McClellan was. So we're just like, okay, let's just try again tomorrow. And we got Dan McClellan coming back to join us here in a couple weeks. And we got a really amazing guest that I am very personally excited about that will be joining us in July. Because we got a lot booked between now and then. And so she'll be joining us on July 30th. I'm so excited to have just confirmed her. But I don't have a TMF or this MF for this week. I have someone, I think it's good in this environment that we feature, that we're just not all about bad news, because there is an abundance of bad news, right? There's so much bad news. And so if we only focus on the bad, if we only focus on who's out here acting a fool, it could get very depressing very quickly. So I do try to find some things that are more insightful, more in alignment with our platform. Thank you, Lisa. I'm so glad that you love the podcast. And I found this woman, just stumbled across her on social media the other day. Her name is Kelly Snyder. And she just walks and talks. And she spits so much wisdom. And I think it's so important that we have allies that are outside of the marginalized communities that are honest and authentic allies to and speak truth to power. And she does that. And so I want to show a little bit of a video that she did, and then I have another video, and we're gonna see if we can get Dillon back on, and if not, that's okay. We'll probably wrap up the show and try again next week. But I at least want to show a piece. Now, this video is kind of long, so I'm not going to show the whole thing. But what I will do is put the link to it in the chat, in the comments, and then you can go back and watch it on your own, because it's 5 minutes long, and of course I can't do a 5 minute, but I'm going to show you some of this. And I think that it's very insightful in this time where we have Christian nationalists in our government. Project 2025 was written by a Christian nationalist. The government is chock full of Christian nationalists, people who want to take their boutique version of the Bible and God and Jesus Christ and have that implemented and enforced on all the rest of us via the government, which Jesus would have never been involved in, not for a second, if he were walking the earth. If he was walking these United States, he'd be probably getting snatched off the street in an unmarked vehicle with somebody with a face mask on with no badge and deported. But anyhow, I'm going to show this video, and I want you to listen. She just makes it so plain, the history of how white supremacy and Christian nationalism came together. And we were seeing that as a climatic manifestation in our government these days. So let me share that with you. And let's see here. There you go. And let me know if you can hear it too.
White churches have not just been supported by white supremacy, they have served as its headquarters. I know you don't want to hear that. They have taught white people that oppression is godly and that power belongs to us by divine right. After the civil rights movement, powerful white people, men, saw that their grip was slipping. Black people were winning court cases. Poor people were organizing. Women were demanding rights. How dare we? LGBTQ people were coming out of their closets, and the foundations of white male dominance were cracking. So they thought, what can we use that no one will question? In 1979, Jerry Falwell founded the Moral Majority. He said it was about championing family values. That was a lie. The real trigger was that the IRS had begun revoking tax exemptions for whites-only Christian schools. Those whites-only schools were created specifically to avoid integration. Falwell's own school, Liberty Christian Academy, was one of them. The platform of the Moral Majority ended up getting built around the issue of abortion. Although that wasn't the original plan, they basically test drove different topics to see which ones would resonate the most with the audience they needed to capture, which was white Americans, white Christian Americans. It had everything to do with maintaining the right to discriminate, yet still enjoy government benefits. This guy named Paul Weyrich, who was a conservative political strategist, he teamed up with Falwell to build a political base. He admitted that abortion had not really motivated white evangelicals until it became politically useful. Their real grievance was losing control over who could sit in their classrooms, walk into their churches, and live in their neighborhoods. Once they realized that abortion could mask their racial panic, they made that their headline issue. They built a movement that turned pulpits into propaganda platforms. Sunday services became political strategy sessions. That's illegal. You're not supposed to be able to do that at a church if you're getting tax exemption. Ministers told white families that their enemies were not the wealthy elites exploiting their labor. They were not the politicians cutting their wages and stealing their pensions. The churches pointed to the poor, the Black, the brown, the queer, the immigrant. Those people are the ones who are taking food out of your children's plate. They told white people they were being persecuted every time they were asked to share. And yes, I understand what it means for me to say this out loud. I know what it means to say that the church, something which is so sacred to so many, has been a central engine of the immoral institution of white supremacy. I know this will upset people. The white church has stood on the wrong side of every fight for justice in this country. Every one. During slavery, it defended human ownership. During Jim Crow, it defended lynching and segregation. Christian church members attended lynchings and brought their children to steep them in that evil. During the civil rights movement, it defended denying benefits to Black people. During the rise of Trump, it defended cruelty in the name of religious liberty, as if Trump has a clue. Some churches resisted, yes. There are liberal churches who have a strong history of being on the right side of these issues, but most didn't. Most chose comfort. Even now, white churches help elect leaders who lie, steal, incite violence. They wage war on education. They call justice wokeness as an insult. They are consuming a message that keeps them at the center with the elite in their minds. They choose white power over compassion, over empathy. One share shows you care about setting the record straight. Please share. Next time, I am going to talk about how Donald Trump did not hijack this system. He was groomed into it.
Okay. So I said I wasn't going to show that whole video, but I decided just to let her cook.
Yeah.
So we did watch the whole thing, and I put the link in there in case anybody wanted to take a look at that. I think it is so powerful, so much more powerful when people who come from that place of privilege and power and not that they have, you know, done wickedness or anything like that, but people who can use who are aware, one, that they do have privilege, and then who use that to bring awareness to how people are abusing privilege and how people are abusing the word of God, how people are abusing the name of Jesus, how people are abusing the fear. She said something about fear, racial fear, and making enemies out of God's creation, and how abortion was never supposed to be the top issue, but it allowed these people to cover and cloak their racism with something. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's exactly what Donald Trump lets people do, right? He gives them a invisible uh, cloak, a shield, a cover. You know what I'm saying? An alias, whatever you want to call it. He gives them that freedom to be as hateful and as wicked and as discompassionate, if that's the word, and as whatever whatever's there, the homophobia, the xenophobia, the bigotry, the racism, the cruelty, the misogyny. He legitimizes the deepest, darkest parts of people. The danger is not only does he legitimize it, but by legitimizing it, he empowers them to act on it. And that's
Yeah.
how we end up with the guy that you spoke of who had this hit list, who murdered. And think about the news cycle. Think how quickly we have moved on
Right.
from an assassination in the United States.
Yeah.
A politician and her husband were assassinated last week. We ain't even talking about it no more. Is it on the news anywhere? No. Have you seen it on the news? No.
I have not been watching as much news lately because it's been too fucking heavy.
I haven't been watching it. You go to HuffPost, go to Fox News, go to any major media outlet. It's not on the front cover. It's not even on the cover. It may be way down toward it's not news anymore. It was news for like 3 days. That's how inundated and drowned we are in drama and craziness, that having a political assassination happen just last week and it's already gone out of our minds. It's gone. And this is by a very religious person, a former pastor, right? Or something.
Yeah, I mean, he was trained at that school, and I have no idea how much of my thing that y'all can hear because everything froze up. I couldn't hear anything or anything, so I kept on talking for a while. But yeah, he was ostensibly a pastor. He did do all those sermons in the Democratic Republic of Congo, you know, and that's what's so weird is the moral majority types. The Falwells, the Bob Jones, the Oral Roberts, straight up white supremacists, are now joining, at least obliquely, similar common goals as the NAR, which styles itself as multi-ethnic and rejects white Christian nationalism in favor of multicultural Christian nationalism, as if that makes it more palatable to be a theocratic, you know, take the rights away from people that you don't like. But it's okay if white, black, and brown people do it together. But I guarantee you that there's some NAR types that are probably just as racist as Oral Roberts and Bob Jones and Falwell and Swagger and all them people. It's all fucking gross.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And just to let you know, how crazy it has gotten. Apparently I'm just full of videos today. But Before I get to word on the street, though, do we have any good news in the news? Do we have anything?
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, we talked about Mahmoud Khalil getting released, but also the federal court has stricken down Louisiana's attempt to put the 10 Commandments in every school. That just happened. They said it was blatantly unconstitutional. No screaming eagle shit. Of course it's unconstitutional. The First Amendment puts a wall of separation, as Jefferson said to the Danbury Baptist Church. And as Madison said, I think it was Madison, if you can make a rule for one sect or one religion, what's to say that you can't make a rule favoring a whole other sect? Separation of church and state is the foundation of our secular democracy. So hopefully Oklahoma and Dusty Devers and Ryan Walters and those clowns over there are going to be next. Hopefully there's somebody, because they're trying to do the same thing, and Texas is trying to do it. And again, for those who can't remember, this is all part of the Project Blitz playbook by Christian nationalists like David Barton and the NAR types and the Reformed Doug Wilson types. All those kinds of people, they have certain different theological views, but they have one theocratic goal. And the Project Blitz is to wear us down with this silly shit, like put the 10 Commandments in the classrooms. But Louisiana's was stricken down, I think, just today.
And thank God for that. And spend state money on Bibles. Weren't one of them trying to buy 400?
Yeah, that was Oklahoma. Trump Bibles, yeah. Oh, and by the way, Trump has made $1.3 million hawking his blasphemous Bibles.
Yeah, that have the Constitution in them, and also have parts of the Constitution removed, the parts they don't like. They don't like. Yeah, they didn't put the whole thing in there. They took some.
Shocking.
Yeah.
They probably kept the First Amendment out of there for a reason.
Yeah, I think the First Amendment was there. I think it was like the 14th and some other ones. There was a few.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And now he's got the new grift, the Trump cell phone. That's a thing. Have you seen that?
Gold phone for $500.
Yeah. Oh, they making good money off that name. Can you imagine? I know we get tired of saying it, but can you imagine if Biden did that? Everything this man does, it's just like, it's okay. Okay. He could sell Teslas on the front lawn of the White House. That's okay. He could sell Bitcoin. He could sell tickets to Bitcoin events and promote it at the White House. He could tank the stock market and then say it's a good time to buy the dip. Y'all get it, and then he could make an announcement and raise it back up.
Yeah.
Rich people games, rich people problems. But anyways, yes, that is great news. And I'm someone who believes in God.
Yeah,
I'm
me
someone
too.
who believes in the 10 Commandments, as it were, which is just moral code that is probably consistent with most religions. The Christianity doesn't have a monopoly on moral code, but I'm okay with, what I'm saying. But the thing is, if you allow, what I was waiting for was, I'm like, go ahead and let these folks rule that they can't put up the 10 Commandments, because I promise you, here come the Satanist church, here come the Hindus, here come the Muslims, here come the Baha'i, here come whoever the hell, because their thing is going to be, if they could do it, we could do it.
That's right.
And let us just show you how ludicrous this is and prove our point by running this thing all the way up to the Supreme Court, so you could tell us why it's okay to have the 10 Commandments and not have the Quran. Tell us why it's okay and how it's lawful.
Yeah.
So I was just sitting back ready to eat some popcorn and watch the bullshit go down. Because you already know it was going to go down. As soon as
definitely.
hit the wall.
The Satanic Temple does not play when this kind of shit happens. They immediately mobilize, and I gotta tip my cap to them for sure.
Yeah, and I believe in God. I believe it. I follow Jesus. You know what I'm saying? I don't want the 10 Commandments in my kids' classroom.
No.
Because it's my job as their mother, as their guardian, to instill in them godly principles. I believe that's my job. I don't believe that that's their teacher's job. I don't believe that that's their school's job. I send them to school for many reasons. None among them is for spiritual guidance. None
Right.
among them is to instill in them moral compass. None among them is for them to tell my children that they need to live according to the 10 Commandments. That's my job. That's my job as a mother. If that's the religion that I subscribe to convey that and instill that in my children, if that's what I want to do. And then when they get grown, they can tell me, go to hell, whatever, and they can do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? But whose job it is not to do that is teachers in schools, especially publicly funded schools. If you want your children to be learning the 10 Commandments and have them plastered all over the school in a specified font and size, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. You need to pay for them little jokers to go to a Christian school. You need to pay that private tuition. You need to send them over there to Jesus Christ only Holy Ghost filled day camp summer school of the apostolic faith, or wherever the hell you want to send them. Understand? That's where they need to go. That's where them little jokers need to go, so they could just get bombarded with Jesus all day. Lawful.
Or they could send them to a Hebrew school run by rabbis. So they
whatever the case,
learn the Torah.
That needs to be on your own dime and your own time.
Exactly.
Whatever the case.
Exactly.
I ain't got nothing against you. Put your children where you think they should be, but you pay for it. You pay for it. You pay for it, and you don't subject everybody else's children to it.
Right.
Because the Muslim
100%.
student, the Jewish student, the Hindu student, the atheist student, the agnostic student, the whatever kind of student has a right not to be bombarded with your religion during their school day. They have a right to come to school and learn about reading, writing, arithmetic, sans Jesus Christ. They have a right to do that. But if you let these lunatics tell it, they don't have that right. But they do. And I'm glad the courts ruled that they do. Anyhow, the word on the street is going to come from a young lady named Jen Hamilton, who has gone viral over the last couple of days from just reading the red words out of the Bible. And apparently MAGA and them got a problem with the red words in the Bible. Because apparently Jesus was too woke for them to digest. They're a little upset about the red words. And so we're gonna let her have the word on the streets. Just reading the red words out the Bible. You'd be surprised what gets MAGA tangled up in knots these days. You get surprised. You get surprised. Anyways, here you go. By the way, she's responding to a post that says, "Whoa, be careful there. I'm happily MAGA and absolutely love Jesus. We are exhausted from liberal nonsense." That's the post she's responding to.
That's one of them big gilt-edged study Bibles.
For I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger and you invited me into your home. I was naked and you gave me clothing. I was sick and you cared for me. I was in prison and you visited me. Then these righteous ones will reply, Lord, when did we ever see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink, or a stranger and show you hospitality, or naked and give you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will say, I tell you the truth. When you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you are doing it to me. I don't know, sounds pretty liberal. But wait, I think I want to read just one more part of this. Then the king will turn to those on his left and say, away with you, you cursed ones, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his demons. For I was hungry and you didn't feed me. I was thirsty and you didn't give me a drink. I was a stranger and you didn't invite me into your home. I was naked and you didn't give me clothing. I was sick and in prison and you didn't visit me. Then they will reply, Lord, when did we ever see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or sick or in prison and not help you? And he will answer, I tell you the truth. When you refused to help the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you were refusing to help me.
That is
Beware of
Matthew
any
25,
Christian
y'all.
Did you see that?
What did it say?
Yeah. That like you said, that's Matthew 25. Mic drop on the red letters. Judy Springsteen said that is the good news. That is the good news. That is the good news. Apparently that is not the kind of news that MAGA likes to hear or see. That's not the Jesus that they follow. That's not him. They don't like that Jesus right there. That Jesus pisses them off. That Jesus is walking in empathy to the level of sin. Yeah, that that Jesus is toxically empathetic and woke, and that Jesus might be going to hell if you let MAGA tell it. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna let Jen Hamilton get the last word. She has a great page. Follow her as well as Miss Snyder. Follow them. I put the link there. So that is a word on the street, straight from Jen Hamilton, straight out of the Bible, straight from the red letters of Matthew 25. All right. Dillon, what you got to close us out? You got anything else?
Well, thank you for that, Dee. Yeah, Matthew 25, 31 through 46 is one of my favorite passages. I have written about it multiple times. For folks who are new to the show, sorry about the technical difficulties with my computer, but also y'all probably need some good summer reading. And let me just recommend Desimber Rose, The Church Can Go to Hell.
Thank you.
And Dillon Desimber Cruz, Theological Musings, Collected Essays of a Tattooed Theologian, Volume 2, both from Choir Publishing. Do us a favor, pick up a copy of that. And when you do, leave a review. That helps authors like us get our word out, and also, get a little something for our hard work, because y'all may not know this, writing a book is hard work.
Yes, it is.
So that's what I got. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for letting us pivot. We will have Dan McClellan on the show on July the 10th. We will also have April Ajoy on the show on July the 3rd. And Dr. Bruce Epperly, a very prolific process theologian. He used to teach at my alma mater, Lancaster Theological Seminary. He will be on the show in August to talk about how process theology is meeting this particular political moment. So we've got exciting things ahead. And we'll see y'all next week at our normal time, Thursday at 8 p.m. And you can catch the show on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcast, starting typically on Fridays. So that's that.
All right. Thank you. Thank y'all for tuning in. We love y'all. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. All right. Bring somebody with you next time. See y'all next week.